Hi, I'm Marty Schupak for Schupak Sports, and today this is like a mini T-ball clinic. If you joined us, if you've seen us before, I usually take a different skill to go over. Today, it's really going to be about throwing, and I'm going to show you one drill. Whatever you do, please, at the very end, I have a video that's going to go over the same drill I'm going to show you. It's about 1.5 minutes long, so please stick around. If you can, please subscribe, and if also please give me a thumbs up if you can, if you like what you see. I welcome any comments. If you could share it with your team parents, with your league commissioner of T-ball, with your section administrator or your team president. I really appreciate it. I try to give you some knowledge that I developed over my 30 years of coaching. But let's get right into it. When you talk about throwing, i- in the course of a T-ball season, and T-ball runs, depending upon the league, sometimes anywhere 4, 5, 6, and 7 year olds. The majority, I know up here in the Northeast, where I am, is like 5 and 6 year old kids. Over the course of the season, though, okay, if you have a keen eye, you'll see natural evolvement, or they'll evolve as better throwers. And you can take credit for it, but part of it is their body maturing too and getting better coordinated. Now, another aspect why some kids are going to be more developed than other kids. First of all, kids develop at different stages or different sort of patterns, whatever. And you always have to watch it because it doesn't affect the kids, but it affects the parents more. Where if the next door neighbor's kid looks more coordinated throwing the ball, all right, they're going to be affected more and they're going to feel bad. But you have to cover that in your parents' meeting, and you have to let the parents know that the kids develop differently. All right. The other thing is, I constantly saying this, you want to separate skills. Today we're talking about throwing. All right. So any drill you do with throwing, I'm going to show you one drill. At the beginning of the season, at least the first practice, don't have them catch the ball. All right. Just have them throw it, have them have a bucket of balls and throw it again. Also keep in mind, all right, throwing is probably the second most dangerous thing on a T-ball team because other than bats, where they'll pick up bats, just start swinging, they'll pick up balls and could just start throwing them all over the place. You really have to have enough uh, assistant coaches and volunteers. And what I did every year when I coached at the parents' meeting, I told every parent, you're an assistant coach. Okay. And some of them, they didn't like it, but I did that. And it worked. I would use them. I mean, if parents were in their car watching practice, I would pull them out, even if I put them at a base and the player had to run around them. When you're doing throwing, make sure you spread the players out. And if you have different drills, what I like to do is have a target. And the reason you do that is it'll help steady the head. When they have a target they're throwing to, the chances are they're not going to hit it, 5 and 6 year old kids. But if they're focusing on that target, it'll help steady the head. All right. Also, what I like to do with throwing, even with younger kids, I like to separate it as far as the different parts of the body. I'll have them throw the ball standing up, teach them the right foot to step into the ball. But I also like to have them go on their knees and throw the ball just to show them that throwing is not just the arm, it's the whole body. Now, some of the younger kids are going to get it. Most of them probably won't. But what your job is as a coach in T-ball, it's not necessarily to have them perfect different skills. They're not going to do it. You want to expose them to the skills and you want them to come away with a positive feel. Remember, we're trying to develop a lifetime love for baseball and softball. Every single practice has got to be a positive experience for these kids. Don't run the practices over 45 minutes. Talking about throwing also, what I like to do is, and obviously you don't do it in T-ball, I like to incorporate pitching drills with my whole team if I'm coaching 8 years old, 8-year-olds and up. Because if you have pretty good pitching drills, they'll have good form. Okay. So let's just get to this drill that I promise you. Again, I'm going to have a video right after this, and I'll go over a few things. I found that a lot of kids, and I try to teach them, the T-ball age, to bring their arm all the way back. A lot of them will throw from the air, as you know. All right. So what I did is, and we would practice at a school, and I knew the custodians, whatever. I took a freestanding bench. Okay. I don't know if you can see that. I'll hold it up close as my other papers fell. I took a freestanding bench and I gave them a tennis ball, a soft covered ball, and I was at the end of the bench, and I had them, if you look here, bring their arm all the way down, okay? And then they bring it up and they throw it to me at the end of the bench. The key point here is when they're bringing their arm all the way down, for a lot of kids, that's the first time they actually feel it, all right? Other times you'll be coaching them, tell them bring your arm back, and they'll do the same thing, throw from the air, and you'll say, Billy, I told you to bring your arm back. And they said, I did. They think they are, but they just don't feel it, okay? All right. Um, the other thing is, if don't go out and buy a bench, please. You could use a bleacher for the same drill to help bring their arm back. And again, what we're doing is we're using gravity and keep in mind too, and I said it before, the progression of motor skills will vary amongst your kids. And I mentioned it to the kids that have older brothers and sisters that are athletic. You'll see some of those kids will be more advanced. All right. And you want to repeat this. So that's basically it. It's called the freestanding bench drill. Again, don't go out and buy a bench. I also want to mention too, if you're a baseball fan, something happened to me a few years back, and I just put it down because I wanted to mention it. I had heard that the city of Hoboken, New Jersey, claims to be one of the originators of baseball with the first baseball game. And I actually live 45 minutes north of Hoboken. And in one of the rare days, I happen to be home on a day off. Usually I'm working. And I heard a person on the radio say how that in Hoboken, they have the original bases where they were when they played the first game, and it's at the corner of this block. Every corner has a base. There's home, first, second, or third. I was like intrigued, so I got in my car. Really, I just was lucky I wasn't doing anything. Drove down to Hoboken, I found it. Sure enough, and I went from corner to corner, and there's a plaque with each corner, what base it is, commemorating the first game. So I guess I'm just trying to share that with you. I assume you're a baseball fan, and again, we're trying to build up a love for baseball and softball. If you're in the Northeast or outside New York City, make it a point to go to Hoboken to visit this. It's fascinating, and there's a lot of good places to eat in Hoboken, by the way. Now, as far as products, uh, here's a book. I'll put a link, T-ball drills. Again, I tell everyone that follows me, if you can't afford one of my books, don't buy it with money you don't have. Go to your library, go to the reference desk. All right. They'll be reluctant because I self-publish my books, but if you get enough people, they'll purchase it. Another book is People Skills and Drills. By the way, the other book I just showed you has 110 drills. This has a lot more pictures and it goes into the history of T-ball and it covers a lot of different drills. And the other book, this is the only book I would advise you to buy, is Baseball Coaching. The reason being, you're going to use this as a resource in the coming years as your son or daughter grow up in their leagues if they love baseball. I have 60 sample practices and there's over 300 drills. And one of my favorite chapters is base running, where I maintain you could get an extra 1 to 2 runs a game. Please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. Do not leave. I'm going to throw in a video on the bench drill. It's about 1.5 minutes long. And for Schupak Sports, I'm Marty Schupak. Until next time.
Bench throwing.
One of the things young players have a hard time doing is learning to bring their arm all the way back. And I learned a technique a few years ago where I took a regular bench and I have a player lie on the bench where they bring their arm all the way down. This way, the gravity is actually helping them bring the arm down, and they're actually experiencing bringing the arm back. A lot of these kids never experience how to bring the arm all the way back. We try to explain to them, we try to demonstrate, but until they feel it, they don't know how it feels. So we'll demonstrate now. Christian, why don't you lie on the bench? Feet up. Bring the arm all the way down, and you'll throw it to me. Good. Do it again. Good. Do it again.
Understanding the concept of throwing by bringing the arm back can be hard for young t-ball players to understand. Coaches need to be as creative as possible with techniques that enable the player to experience the act of the arm going back. This is an important drill to bring to a young player because learning proper throwing techniques early on, such as bringing the arm all the way back, will prevent injuries later in their career.